Decision to disband the provincial executive committee in the Northwest will be heard today. Supra Mahumapelo is one of the 4 applicants who are in a bid to have the decision overturned. The NEC dissolved the PEC in September, 5 months after Mahumapelo took early retirement from his position as a premier of the platinum-rich province. Let's go now to our reporter Chriselda Lewis, who's there. Hey, Chriselda.
Well, a very good morning to you, Blaine. Quite packed to capacity here at the South Gauteng High Court. As you can see here next to me, the court officials had to close the gate here as many supporters have come out here today. You would know these are supporters of these 4 regions that are coming to court here today, and they basically want the August decision of the ANC's National Executive Committee to be overturned, the one that disbanded the provincial executive committee of the ANC. You can see some of those placards are saying we want the ANC NW PEC back. That is the message that is being sent here today. And essentially what these applicants are arguing is that the decision that was taken by the National Executive Committee was illegal and unconstitutional. And what they say is that part of the ploy was that it seemed that the ANC's National Executive Committee had basically been targeting those that did not support the now ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa in the run-up to the NASREC elective conference in December. You'd recall, of course, as well, that these disgruntled regions had also written to the Secretary General of the ANC, Ace Magashule, raising their concerns. So basically now, full arguments will be heard in this court this morning. And interestingly, over the past couple of weeks, if I can add, of course, you would know as a result of that decision by the National Executive Committee of the ANC, that then led to the removal of Supra Mahumapelo as the ANC's chair in the Northwest province. And he's now joined that application in the court papers that the SABC has seen. He does indicate that he supports this bid by the 4 other applicants, and he joins us now. Dr. Mahumapelo, thank you very much for your time this morning. I see quite a lot of support for you outside this court this morning. First of all, why did you decide to join at this particular stage? At first, you were not part of it. Decide to join this bid to have this decision of the NEC overturned.
Thank you very much, Chriselda, and the viewers at home. It is not correct for the leadership of the African National Congress, after the national conference was held, to now argue that branches are not in good standing, they are not functional, because we went to NASREC with an audited membership approved by former Secretary General Ntate Gwede Mantashe, and those branches participated in the national conference that elected the same NEC that is saying those branches are not functional. So we are here to show the court that that statement is not genuine, because those branches were audited and they were approved to participate in the national conference of the ANC in December.
Part of what is in the court papers by the other applicants as well includes the fact that they believe that there is some conspiracy to oust those who did not support the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa in the run-up to NASREC. Certainly your application as well in the court papers seems to certainly suggest that as well.
Well, it's not a secret. As we're building towards NASREC, there's a particular group in the province which was characterizing itself as CR17. And consistently, they were saying if they win at the national conference, they are going to dissolve the PEC. Immediately after the national conference, they felt triumphant and they started meeting before January 8. At January 8 itself, alongside January 8 event in East London, after January 8, working with a particular section of the NEC members of the ANC to plot against the PEC and ultimately get rid of the PEC. They started by saying a certain group within PEC must resign. They failed to achieve that. Secondly, they said, let's get 1/3 of branches to bring the PC down. They couldn't get even one branch. Then the last option for them was to lobby their friends within the NEC to rubber stamp basically what was resolved before we went to Nasrec to get rid of the PC. How do you get rid of the PC when you are left with 5 months to go to a provincial conference?
So you still believe that there was a political conspiracy relating to all that happened with the disbandment?
It's not a belief. We have got evidence at our disposal in terms of social media work, in terms of other media work, in terms of meetings that took place, in terms of other comrades who were part of those particular meetings. You don't build unity and renewal like that.
Part of what you just mentioned is that the ANC is stating that, the branches in the Northwest had been dysfunctional since 2016. You did allude to the fact that a national audit had passed in the national audit itself. Given that, is this a threat? Because you are saying that, if you had gone to Nasrec, it had passed in the national audit. So if we look at the legitimacy of the conference at Nasrec in December, is this a threat to the leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa?
Well, it is the NEC that must think very carefully about that, because they are the ones who have taken that particular decision. They've invited something which was not in the political equation of the politics of the ANC and brought them into the political equation of the African National Congress. That is not our intention. If it happens, it will be an unintended consequence of a decision taken by the National Executive Committee.
But is this a threat to the ANC president's leadership?
Oh, not the president himself. If indeed the ruling will be that those branches were legitimate, they participate in the conference, and therefore, indirectly, it means branches that you as the NEC say are illegitimate, they are non-functional, elected you. Why do you create that particular atmosphere? It defeats logic. I hope the NEC can now say, let's work on unity and renewal different from using our power to demonstrate the extent to which we can side with a particular group to disband the PC in the province.
Some would argue that perhaps this would be your demonstration of, yet again, a pro-Zuma stance and anti-Cyril Ramaphosa.
No, there's nothing like that. If the ANC is not run properly and you are the National Executive Committee, branches are not functioning, write a letter to the provinces to say to them, the following branches are not functioning, we have assessed them over time. If they don't, come and visit those particular branches. Tell the branches that you are not functioning. We are giving you 30 days, 40 days to improve. If you don't, we dissolve you. Now, if a branch is not functional, you don't dissolve the upper structure unless you have brought to the upper structure the details of them working in a way that made the branches non-functional. We don't have such a letter. I've been in the PEC now. We're elected in 2015. We are left with 5 months and we are dissolved. We don't have such a correspondence from Lithuania.
So this is not an anti-Cyril Ramaphosa stance that you take?
It cannot be. We have elected Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa as the leader of the collective of the ANC, elected at the Nasrec conference. It has got nothing to do with his leadership. But if people are going to hibernate within the National Executive Committee and settle political scores using the power of the NEC, the branches of the ANC must bring that to the attention of the NEC and challenge the NEC. And as I have said, it doesn't matter how the court is going to resolve, whether it resolves in our favor or not in our favor. This matter will go to the next National General Council. It will go to the next National Conference of the ANC, because this is not how you cut corners to deal with complex political issues that are facing the ANC.
I have to ask, I recall in the run-up, and in fact at Nasrec in December, you were very much against members of the ANC taking the party to court. I recall distinctly when there was a dispute regarding the election of the new Secretary General of the ANC. You said no. Why are you going to court today against the very same party over something that you had basically said members of the ANC should not do?
I still stand firm on that belief and principle. The ANC processes are such that you must exhaust them internally. Now, we have exhausted the internal processes, and if it is the NEC Remember, the NEC, in between conferences, it is the highest decision-making board. If it is the NEC that acts inconsistently, takes hurried decision without looking at the situation on the ground, you've got nothing more internally to exhaust, because it is the NEC that has taken that particular decision. Your only last resort is to use the Constitution of the Republic, which is the supreme law that is above all other constitutions, to resolve your grievance.
Just two more questions, Mr. Mahumapelo. I want to talk about Mediosa in the Northwest. Would you be willing to go before the Commission of Inquiry into state capture over the belief that the Guptas had made their own benefits within that particular province? Would you be willing to testify?
I never approve supply chain processes in government.
Would you be willing to go and say that at the State Capture Commission?
Anybody who says, I've approved supply chain processes, and he brings evidence either before the court or the commission, I'm prepared to face such an individual who can produce evidence that I presided over supply chain processes.
Are you prepared to face the Commission of Inquiry?
Whether it is the court, whether it's the commission, whether it is the NEC of the ANC, we are supposed to be honest to the Republic of South Africa, because we take oath when we go into the offices. It shouldn't just be about this one. It must be about everything else that goes on in government.
This morning, an article in one of the newspapers pointing to allegations that you had given a number of municipalities in the Northwest an instruction to invest money in VBS Mutual Bank.
It is the responsibility of any leader in government, if you are deployed there, to make sure that you bring investments to the province to create jobs, to fight poverty and deal with unemployment. It is in that context that the Setsukutsane program that we developed, we invited Standard Bank, VBS, FNB, and ABSA. We went with them throughout the province, the length and breadth of the province, for them to market themselves and to help our people to open businesses, to help them to manage their businesses, to help them with the finances. I never instructed anybody to go and support either VBS, ABSA, FNB, or Standard Bank. I've never done such a thing. If there's anybody who can bring that evidence, I'm happy to confront that particular person. What I have said is, it is important for us to support black economic empowerment. Let's make you an example. The president now, in the Africa Investment Forum, is saying there must be deals to improve the economic situation in the country. That's correct. If he says that, and people in government who are supposed to follow processes, then don't follow processes that are laid in the law. You can blame the president. I simply said, let's support black economic empowerment, but at the same time,
so do you now regret? Do you now regret, Mr. Mahumapelo, in light of what has happened with VBS Mutual Bank, in bringing them into the fold? Given that you're saying you wanted to support a black business, given what has taken place, and it turns out that the entire thing turned out into a complete mess.
My sister, you see now VBS people are taken to NetBank. If something goes wrong in future in NetBank, will you say to the current leadership of the government, including President Ramaphosa, that you regret that particular decision? There's no regret. You take a decision at a particular moment as a leader. And when those who are implement it wrongly, the law must take its course. You can't say you shouldn't have made that particular pronouncement. Investments must happen in South Africa. If investors come from overseas, they come and invest here, and they don't follow the laws of the Republic, you can't blame the person who brought investors to the province, to the country. You must blame the investors themselves.
Supra Mahumapelo, thank you very much for your time this morning, chatting to us as we're about to get underway. Court starts at 10 o'clock this morning, and full arguments are expected by those four regions who want the decision, the August decision of the ANC's National Executive Committee to be overturned. Supra Mahumapelo, of course, who had subsequently been removed as a result of that decision as the ANC chairperson in that province, has also joined this bid. Now he is being represented by advocates Advocate Dalimpo, for the other 4 by Advocate Tembeka Ngubay-Tobi. That's all starting now at 10 o'clock. But this will have serious repercussions if a decision is taken, or if it is agreed by this court that the decision that was taken by the National Executive Committee of the ANC was unconstitutional and unlawful, as these applicants are saying as they bring this application to court.
Zion, the story will probably check in with you after 10 o'clock. Chriselda Lewis live for us. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. As